Hey everyone, I'm Andrea Ritter, and we are back for 22-23 school year of Summit Spotlight. One of our favorite guests to have in the studio is Ross Morgan. He is our data and assessment coordinator. Welcome.
Hi, how's it going?
Great, how are you?
Doing well.
Well, I am really excited to see you because everybody wants to know you're like the most popular person in this district because you are the data guy. What's going on? You're going to give us a little state of the state today.
Yeah, well, so this is really the first year in a couple of years that we are receiving what's called the school and district report cards, our district performance frameworks and our school performance frameworks. Basically what these are is these show how our students did on our recent assessments, CMAS, PSAT, Access, the variety of assessments that we take into spring. So for schools and districts, this is a really important time to figure out where are we in terms of supporting our students and what are our next steps going to be.
So, great information. So for families who are receiving this information coming home, you really want to be able to look at that data. And so Ross is going to give us a little 411 about what, where we are as a district and what we're doing in order to improve. Perfect.
So in the past few weeks, you should have received reports for your children in grades 3 through 8, or if they were in grades 3 through 8 last spring. These are reports from the CD or Colorado Department of Education, which really talk about where your student stands in context with how students across the state are doing, how students are growing over time. Now we need to be clear that these reports are the first time these have come out in the past few years because of COVID. So what we're seeing is that there's still some questions on like, how valid is the data? What are we looking at? Those kinds of pieces. So the reports that are coming home with your children are showing their performance on the assessments, areas that they might improve upon. We're also, as a district, sending home our internal assessment data in the next few weeks. Students take a variety of assessments, such as STAR, NWA, or iReady. You should see these reports coming home, as well as a document that lets you know how to interpret what you're seeing, and then who you can reach out to if you have additional questions. Now the big one that's going to be released to the Board of Education on September 8th is what's called the District Performance Framework. And what that's going to show for Summit School District is that we've had a change in our accreditation. It is identified now as we're an improvement district. What this means is that we just came in below the benchmark for what the state calls an accredited district. In terms of process, it doesn't change much, but I can tell you that as a district, we're looking very seriously at this data to try to understand what are we going to be doing next. So we've identified three responses or action items that we're going to be working with. First is we've identified within our district performance framework that we have we're not currently meeting the needs of all of our subpopulations of students. So within this framework, we look at how are Hispanic students doing, how are our English language learners doing, how are our free and reduced lunch, and then what are our special education students doing. When we look at that, we see that in all four of those categories, we have some challenges that we're facing, to be completely honest. We're trying to put some pieces in place. So one of the parts that we've identified is looking really at, we need to hire a new instructional or English language coordinator, and we have. We've hired a new woman this year who's going to help us with identifying how do we support teachers in implementing experiences for their English language students so that they're able to be successful, access grade level content knowledge, and see those growths that other students in our districts are seeing. The second piece that we're looking at is really looking at each individual school and the district UIP and identify what are the student learning outcomes and objectives that we need to set in place and use those as our guiding star for the whole year.
So Ross, real quick,
yeah.
What is UIP? Because sometimes we do education speak, and since I'm new to the planet, I also need help, and I did need help. So what is the UIP?
Awesome. Thank you for catching me on that. The UIP is the Unified Improvement Plan. What it is it's our articulation and our values identified in this document of what we're focusing on this year and how we're going to meet that and what those benchmarks are that we're going to measure ourselves against to say we're on track. So when I say the UIP, it's a plan that each building, and each district creates. And so you'll see these start coming out. These are being talked about with parent groups at each school. They're being talked about with the building leadership teams. Central office is looking at all of the plans and really trying to identify, is this plan in alignment with what with our strategic plan? Is this plan providing us a metric that we can use for teacher evaluation, which I'll talk about in a few minutes? And then, is this plan meeting the needs that we're seeing on our report card from the state that we're a little low in and we could use improvement on? So all these processes are going on currently to ensure that as we're developing goals, we're meeting the needs of our families, our students, our staff, and we're doing so in a way that's aligned to our strategic plan.
And this has been going on. I mean, we've been in a UIP process well beyond this moment of learning that, we have some improvement to make. So this has been part of our strategic plan process and moving forward in the district well before today.
Yeah, every district and every school is required to create a UIP. The one difference that the accredited with an improvement plan means for the district is instead of doing a UIP every 2 years, we have to do it every year. The thing is, as best practice, we have done our UIPs every year. So it's not a change in process for us per se, but it is definitely a sense of we need to make sure that what we're doing is moving our students forward. And so we're very intentional about making sure that we're not running off in all these different directions, but we're very aligned to making sure that every student is getting what they need to be successful.
Awesome. That's so great. Thank you for sharing this information. We'll be sharing more as time goes on. And, as Ross said, this is preliminary data that's being released today. And so we'll just keep you looped in. And if anyone has any questions, we are happy to respond to those. So reach out to the principals at your schools and they can loop you in with Ross. And honestly, what's really amazing is you have an opportunity to get involved with your child's education. We have not only the PTSA and the PTSOs, we also have the District Accountability Committee and the SAC, which is at the building level. So there's so many opportunities for you to get involved. And don't feel like you need to know everything as a parent. I mean, I barely know anything as a parent, and I think it's just about taking that step so that you are able to understand the process and help to support your child and our community. So please get involved. And Ross, we really appreciate everything you're doing. And Ross is brilliant. He's a new doctor and really is so well versed in this information. So we really appreciate having your level of expertise to help to lead this work forward for the district.
Awesome. Thank you, Andrea. I appreciate the time.
Thank you.